Luton is an industrial state with bits of town added onto it, and everything's brown and grey. Hey, where am I? You had a car crash. You're in hell. Wow, it looks just like Luton in here. Oh, and there's Tommy Robinson. Hey Tommy. There's no real nightlife, the city has a high crime rate, and the only redeeming feature about Luton is the airport. But it's there so people can get away as far as possible, as quickly as possible. Also, Anwar Tate grew up there, as if people of Luton haven't suffered enough. Bedford is a middle of the road town, but it's definitely better than Luton. You can make some Italian and Indian friends, go visit the waterfront, see for yourself what drugs can do to a person, and maybe get mugged. And once you get there, it's hard to leave, because you either fall in love with the city or get stuck there. The stereotype about Berkshire is that they're all middle class and have lots of homeless people. First of all, it's not pronounced Reading. Reading isn't a city, although they really want to be one. Also, the Queen hated it. It's very multicultural, with some drug and homeless problems. And it's sort of the place Basingstoke wishes it was. The city of Slough is just like what it sounds, and it's a hole with lots of homeless people. It has a big Asian population, the town feels very grimy, and you better avoid the town center if you value your sanity. Also, definitely check out the poem written by Sir John Betjeman in 1937 about the Slough. In Windsor, there are planes from 5 AM to 11 PM, and you'll definitely notice them. Jane, I can't imagine my life without you. Will you Jane, will you Will? There are lots of tourists there, and nothing really happens after 6 PM. Skins probably sum up a lot of Bristol. Bro, have you watched Skins? When I was a teenager, my life was just like Skins. Bristol is a lovely town and everything is close. It has beautiful summers, top-notch apple cider, and it's very diverse. Bristol is expensive as hell, which combined with the housing crisis, traffic, and the bad public transit, make up the biggest problems with this city. So you have to pay a ton of money for places like this. Everywhere you go in Bristol, it smells like pot, and you could hear someone play music. Also, they've made some contribution to the poop science because of the Bristol stool scale. Buckinghamshire sounds much posher than what it is, and it gets called the Brain Belt. Milton Keynes is known to be quite boring, characterless, and soulless. The city feels like the end result of a corporate design meeting. It was built up recently and was actually planned out, rather than being cobbled together over hundreds of years. And that's why it has an American city feel to it, which makes it quite easy to drive around. There are lots of green spaces and cycle paths. High Wycombe has a huge Muslim community, also a high crime rate and lots of gangs, but at least it's close to London. Cambridgeshire is completely flat with lots of posh folks. Hey, this is Peterborough. Let me show you some cool places in it. The services station. Everything in Peterborough is a 10-minute walk away from you, and the city's great transport links make it easy to get the hell out of there. But I believe Peterborough is a city of wasted potentials. It could have been a great thriving city, but no, it's filled with homeless people, it barely has a nightlife, but the closing of John Lewis in 2021 was the final nail in the coffin for Peterborough. But at least it has the beautiful fairy meadows and that cathedral. Housing is ridiculously expensive in Cambridge, so you can forget about a place of your own. But during the summer, you could sit by the river next to the cows and watch the river, and think about how bad the bus schedule is in the city. Aside from these, the city is quite lovely, with a young population, great weather, in UK terms, and also it's great for cycling. Just beware of the bicycle thieves. Cheshire is filled with trashy, ridiculously rich, bald, middle-aged Land Rover drivers who like watching horse racing and betting. Warrington, where you can go for a lovely walk by the river. Get stuck in the traffic. Have a nice chat with the lovely people. Get stuck in the traffic. Complain about the river crossing, go to IKEA and Gulliver's World. Get stuck in the traffic. Get out of Warrington and only then realize how nice the city actually was. Chester has an amazing zoo. It's overall a gorgeous city, absolutely beautiful, especially its zoo. It's the best in England. Just don't be surprised if people from there shoot some random wandering Walesman. And remember one thing, is stay out of the city center when the races are on. Don't ask why. You could also walk along the river, visit the Rose and the Roman walls. And finally, did I mention the zoo? Crewe is after Shrewsbury and you pass it by train. That's pretty much it. If you're into pasties, Cornish pixies, beautiful beaches and moors, and some good ale and cider, Cornwall is your place. I want 3 beers and 3 scones.
A few minutes later.
He's from Cornwall. And if you go there, don't expect a huge wall of corn that separates them from the rest of the UK. You won't find it. Cornish people are dependent on tourists, but they hate them. Actually, it's not just the tourists. They hate anyone from anywhere. And they don't have any homeless issues, because they gather their homelesses in a place and turn them into pasties. If you're liking the video so far, please subscribe. Darlington or Darlow is empty, it's just small, and there's nothing special about it except the clock tower and the locomotion number 1. Hartlepool is where they hanged a monkey during the Napoleonic War because they thought it was a spy. In Stockton-on-Tees, you could go to a restaurant and order some greasy, cheesy, artery-clogging parmos and wash it down with some warm beer and drown yourself in the city's post-industrial sadness. When in Durham, you could go and visit the beautiful cathedral and wonder why in the God's name it's so familiar. I'll tell you why. Parts of Harry Potter and Avengers were filmed there. You could go around and enjoy the delightful city, but because of its hills, you'll be like... The county is very isolated and is filled with churches, but no one goes there. You could visit the lovely Lake District and enjoy their sausage and ale. That is, if you survive the A590. The people love XL cheese crisps, keep it to themselves, and are introverted. They're great when you get to know them, but they're so damn hard to get to know. Also, they have more in common with Scots than Southerners. The things to do in Carlisle are to visit the castle or join the navy. In terms of geographical area, Carlisle is the biggest city in England. Barrow in Furness is quite depressing and bleak, and at some point the Tweeds monster destroyed your bus station. To sum up Derbyshire, look at this pic. Derby is cheap and is 10 years behind its surrounding towns in terms of investment. There's a man in this city that walks backwards, and recently he has started to walk forward, and I think that's the greatest improvement the city has seen in the last decade. The word duck is used as a term of endearment, and when they say "hey up," it means hello. On the good side, Derby is quiet, has good parks and scenery, and is easy to make friends there. And Chesterfield has a crooked spire and some chill people. The first stereotype is that Devon wishes it was Cornwall. If in Devon, you should get a car. You won't get anywhere without a car there. You could go to its lovely beaches, Dartmoor or Exmoor, drink some scrumpy or cream tea or both, and enjoy the lovely landscapes. Everyone in Devon is either a farmer, pensioner, or a surfer. And because of the West Country accent, they sound like pirates. In Plymouth, you could go to the beach, which is like this close, and go to Barbican and enjoy some fish and chips. Summers there are empty, because all students go home, and winters are like... But I think locals don't appreciate how great this city is. Am I right or wrong? And Exeter is a pretty safe student city. Here, this is some money to improve the infrastructure of the county. There ain't anything particular about this area, and it's just impossible to endorse it. 4 groups of people live in Dorset. Retirees from London, tourists, the students, and drug addicts. Bournemouth used to be part of Hampshire, and they have some really persistent beggars. Please sir, spare some change. No. You got any change? No. Spare some change. During the Victorian era, Bournemouth was a hangout for a royal family, but now it's filled with rehab centers, addicts, and recovering addicts. Which makes sense. If you want to go through the pain of withdrawal, it might as well be in a pretty place. The Northerners hate their chippies, and the people from there are hard to crack. Hull feels like a quieter version of Bournemouth, and it's coastal and beautiful. East Riding of Yorkshire is a mix of beautiful countryside, lots of fish, and bleak cities, and the county is about farming and the city of Hull. Hull is isolated and working class, and no, it's not as bad as you think it is. And it's not a place, it's a state of mind. They say it's the city of culture, so at some point a good bunch of them got naked and painted themselves in blue. Also, it's where the deep is. Not that deep, but this deep, which looks like a villain's hideout from outside. Very cool. Oh, and they have this. You may ask yourself, what are you looking at? Well, you're looking at the smallest window in England, and Bridlington is an underrated hidden gem. Is Sussex filled with rich left-wing triaggers, is very rural, and every pub there closes at 11 PM. Brighton has a bohemian culture, the sea, and the seagulls. Okay, here's your share, buddy. Everyone there litters, so you could see trash everywhere. And it has London prices, but not London wages. The city is overcrowded with too many Londoners, and the people are very authentic and real, and no, they're not pretentious. They genuinely believe they're better than everybody. And they all live in a cycle like this. God, I don't want the summer to end. It'll be sunny soon. I miss the summer. Finally, summer. Eastbourne is famous to be very sunny, by English standards of course, which means like 2 weeks or something. Nah, I'm messing around with you. They get like 200 days. Hastings is historical and diverse, and has a lack of investment. And finally, Lewes is quiet, except for the bonfire night. Essex girls are orange with lots of plastic surgery and they have wealthy farmer dads. The county has an industrial decay, is famous to be trashy, has a gangster appearance in the media, and lives under the shadow of a big city nearby. So it's basically the New Jersey of England. Southend-on-Sea got beautiful beaches and you can enjoy it until it gets dark, and then the junkies and gangs show up. Joking aside, it's fine, the gangsters are all wannabes, and the Lee area is quite lovely. Colchester is like this. I'm gonna go shopping, man, it's gonna be fun. And it's the oldest recorded town in England, which dates back to 4980. And this is Chelmsford. Look how nice it is. And look how 90% of the shops aren't boarded up. But it doesn't matter, because you can't afford to buy anything there. Basildon is empty, grim, and there are more boarded up shops than open ones. And finally, Thurrock isn't great for your lungs, and it's a hole. People in Gloucestershire are friendly and down to earth. The county is filled with cows, cider, mud and puddles, and big floods happen there. But they're used to it now. And football doesn't exist there, only rugby. Gloucester is famous for its cheese and Cooper's Hill cheese rolling competition. If you don't know what that is, it's just a bunch of grown-ups throwing themselves down a steep hill for a wheel of cheese. And they have a beautiful cathedral, also known as Hogwarts. Cheltenham has great food scene, and everyone works at GCHQ. And they have one of the biggest horse racing festivals in the world, where you can drink a lot, bet your money on horses, and watch those graceful animals make your hard-earned money disappear. Okay, before starting, I'm not gonna talk about the boroughs. There are like 32 of them, and that's a whole video for itself. So yeah, it's just going to be general stereotypes. One stereotype about London is that everyone's either a super posh metropolitan elite or some hard-boiled knife-wielding gangster. They say the Londoners are rude. Why is it so hot in here? And why the hell is the tube so expensive? Nearly £10 for commuting every day, and I have to pay the rent too? This is the greatest city on the face of the planet, and I don't have enough money to enjoy it. Maybe I should move to Leicester or something. Well, this is a nice subway. Or should I say tube? Nice tube, innit? Such an unfriendly, rude person. London is super diverse and mind-numbingly expensive. Some parts are rough and stabby and filled with junkies and beggars. Hey, dear person, do you have some change to spare? Well, actually no, I'm sorry. Go right in hell, you licking mother... licking bitch. Hole. And some parts are super luxurious. Yeah, so the vibe changes from area to area. People say it's raining all the time, but that's not all true. At least not as much as other cities in England. You just don't see the sun as much. The winters are the worst though. They're dark, cold, rainy, and long. Look bruh, this is so temporary. I mean, I'm gonna go and live in Tokyo or Argentina or something. I know the rent is high and the houses are small and there are tourists everywhere, but I'm not leaving, alright? Now about some areas. South London is the stereotype as a wasteland where you get attacked. North is filled with rich yuppie liberals and some good kebabs. East is filled with working class immigrants and hipsters, and West London is filled with rich conservatives. Greater Manchester is rainy post-industrial and is filled with working-class people who wear Nikes or Adidas trackies. Also, there are middle-class bougies and loud aggressive guitar players who play in an indie rock band. The city is home to lots of great bands. Here's a list of them. Dude, did you just say you're from Manchester? Oasis is literally my favorite band. Nice to meet you too. Manchester is like a smaller, safer, and wetter London. I live in Manchester. I can get any food I want, and drinking and going to concerts is my hobby. Did you just call me a Scouser? Shame on you. They should banish you to Mosside or something. If you want to live there, throw away your umbrella and sunscreen lotion, and get some vitamin D and waterproof clothing. The phrase, they've seen their arse, doesn't mean someone has seen their buttock, but that they've gotten upset or offended. And of course, there, you're either a City or United fan. Bury has a heavy Asian population, and the Arcade Club is enough for me to love the borough. I don't care about anything else. Bolton is huge, rough at the places, and the town hasn't been the same since the bath shut down. Oldham is depressing, dirty, and is filled with racists and junkies. There's a large Pakistani population there, and it's not all bad. Rochdale is poor, the town center will give you clinical depression, but it has some lovely outskirts and some dog rough areas. Salford gave us Mark E. Smith. Hey, my name is John. What's your... I'm from Salford. Oh, that's nice. Where's Salford? I'm Salford. Okay, what's your name? Salford. The Stockport has really improved in the past few years, and the roads are the worst. No one has a clue what a Tameside is. Hey, where are you from? I'm from Manchester. I'm from Manchester. Damn it. Trafford is all about shopping and consumerism, but Altrincham is awesome though. And finally, in Wigan, you can enjoy the silence with some pies and potato cakes. Hampshire is mostly rural with a lot of rich folk. Sure, there are some grey gloomy towns, but the New Forest is there to make up for it. Southampton is weirdly provincial, and there's nothing really exciting about the city. I mean, even Titanic didn't want it to come back to Southampton. They have a rivalry with Portsmouth, and people argue over which one is the best. The answer is neither, and it's frustrating to drive around because there are too many traffic lights. Portsmouth has great beaches, and it's the worst place if you want to park your car, but you can get a bike and then the city is yours. And they truly believe they're better than Southampton and Hull. And here's how Portsmouth looks in the summer and in the winter. The South Sea area is great, but it's filled with annoying teenagers during the summer. Basingstoke is known to be the donut city, and I don't know, tons of roundabouts. And Winchester is great if you're into history. It has a cool cathedral and a round table. The housing is just horrendous, and people are waiting for it to cool down. And they've been waiting for quite a while. Herefordshire is about three things: cattle farms, cider, and SAS. Also, no one knows that they exist. It's also like Gloucestershire with less flooding, is filled with pensioners, and young men who pretend to be from the SAS to get laid. About Hereford. First of all, do you know what color the boathouse is? Hereford doesn't feel like a city, but a big town. And driving there in Friday rush makes you want to question your life choices. And I have nothing to say about Wye Valley. Just look at these pictures. So, you're from Herefordshire? No, not Herefordshire. Hertfordshire. Watford is your average suburban town. It's busy, there's plenty to do, and is multicultural, and it's sketchy at places. Hemel Hempstead is a satellite town, is quiet, and has a weird roundabout. And Stevenage is a boring and grey new town. And St. Albans is nice, and finally, Hertford is a great family town. They say you can't go back in time, but that's not true. You just have to go to Isle of Wight to really see how 80s and 90s felt like. The county is poor, has beautiful beaches and parks, and it isn't diverse. The cost of ferry has made it really expensive to get off the island, so much so that makes you want to swim out of that place and never come back. Kent doesn't have much of a shared culture, has lots of rundown seaside towns, some welcoming people, and a beautiful countryside. After all, it's called the Garden of England. The villages in Kent are mostly freaking amazing. Can't say that about the towns though. Now about Medway. It's got Gillingham, which has some sketchy parts, is deprived, and the high street is pretty wild. And you better don't go there alone at night. And Chatham is basically the Gotham of Kent. And it makes me question Kent's reputation as the Garden of England. The town of Maidstone is half great and half a hole, and is where people from Medway go for a good night out. And about Dover, there are lots of immigrants, and I have no idea what Ashford is. Lancashire is agricultural and industrial, with lots of depressed mill towns and working class individuals who hate Yorkshire and eat black pudding. The weather in Preston is not the greatest. It's the wettest city in England, and it doesn't get a proper sunlight, so it's more like the Preston. The best thing about Preston is the old bus station. People there always talk negatively about the city, but it's alright for the most part though. If you're depressed, like roller coasters and drugs, Blackpool is the place for you. But again, is that as bad as they say? Remember, these are just the stereotypes. And the people are great, very loud, and are aware of the problems the city has, but they still love and defend it. Also, there's a big homosexual population there, and the coastline is lovely. Blackburn is an average northern town, and as the Beatles say, the city has 4,000 holes. And about Burnley, it's rough in the center, and there are nice areas around the edges. The county has a real nice countryside with some good towns and pork pies, and lots of Indians live there. Also Pakistanis who are not a big fan of pork pies and Indians. Leicester is great if you like Indian food. They love the foxes, and there are lots of homeless and beggars who don't take no as an answer. They say the city is dangerous, but not really. You'll be fine if you don't join a gang or talk to addicts lying in the gutters. And the city is not ready for a zombie apocalypse. So bear that in mind, and I don't know, they eat lots of Walker's crisps, just chips for Americans. And Loughborough is a sleepy town with a great university. In Lincolnshire, everyone drives a tractor, and they're also famous for what folks from Norfolk are famous for. If you don't know what that is, I insist you watch the Norfolk part. I'm sorry, I insist. People there are easygoing, and they have some great sausages. Not the people though, the county. Lincoln is quiet and lovely, and you have to climb the city center because of that hill. That damn hill. And everyone there is either old or a student. It has a wonderful cathedral, and the best thing about it is that it isn't flooded by tourists, like York. And people like it that way. Did you know the Beatles were from this county? Yeah, that's Merseyside for you. And their economy is based on Beatles' heritage industry. People from Liverpool are helpful, generous, friendly, sarcastic, and have a good sense of humor. They, of course, have an accent. Just had to throw this in there. I love how it sounds. Basically, everyone sounds like Paddy the Baddy. They're also very loud and wear tracksuits to almost everywhere. And don't mention the stereotypes of them being thieves and unemployed. Obviously, they're not gonna like it. The women wear those thick and long eyelashes, fake tan, and used to go out with their hair curlers and pajamas. Is this still happening? And they all basically live in pubs and always roast Man United. About Birkenhead, it's like Liverpool but 20 years ago. St. Helens is mostly suburbs and there ain't much to do. And Southport has old Lancashire vibes, and it's a great place to die. Norfolk is flat and has some odd people in it. Now, I can't say their most famous stereotype. I don't know what kind of sandwich is this, because I don't know what's in bread. Also, Alan Partridge is from there. They're all white people and the county is very flat. So flat that if you stand on a wall, you'll see all of Norfolk. The pedestrianization of Norwich city center is an important matter that you have to discuss whenever you get the chance. After all, people forget that the traders need access to Dixon's. I'm sorry in advance for this joke, but if you want to blend in there, wear a fake finger. But joking aside, Norwich is a fine city. North Yorkshire is filled with posh rich farmers who love their guns and horses, and it's got a beautiful countryside. The main stereotypes about Middlesbrough are that it's an absolute ghetto, with extremely deprived neighborhoods. But I gotta say, Borough is a mixed bag. It's got okay parts, and it's got parts that people would like to describe it as something whole. The people there have a great sense of humor, and Captain Cook was born there. And pretty much everything in Borough is named after him, from pubs to hospitals. It's basically the only place in the country you can tell someone you're from, and rather than getting mocked, abused, and roasted, they'll tell you, "Oh, I really like York. It's lovely." Also, it's the only place where you won't sound crazy if you say "whoop my gate." Flat caps are mandatory there, it's expensive, and about the tourists, no wonder they built New York. The old one sucks. Oh my god, this place is so Harry Potter. Is this where they filmed the Diagon Alley part? So, in race weekends, Christmas time, and summers, this place is packed. And Harrogate is just like Northern Bath. They have the lovely nurse barrow and some posh people with a superiority complex. Everyone in Northamptonshire is a cobbler and is in the middle. Northampton is just a bang average big UK town and is poor, grey, rundown, dated, and industrial. Visit the countryside and the country parks. They're great. Also, they make some quality shoes there. Kettering is pretty average, but at least the city centre isn't completely dead. Also, James the Caster is from there. Aside from that, nothing special. And Corby is bleak, has an unemployment issue, and is where those Corby trouser press thingies come from. Northumberland is the true north. It's underrated with so many beautiful unspoiled places that not many know about, and they don't want others to find out. So, these were just a bunch of lies. That place sucks.